Yo guys, Phase Shifter here and welcome to another video. And in today's, we're going to be looking at the top 7 things I wish I knew when starting out in Lords of the Fallen. If you're into Souls-like games, this one feels very familiar, but it does have some interesting quirky twists and has borrowed from previous titles that share the same design ethos. There are a variety of game systems and mechanics which, if you can get your head around them quickly, will allow you to make satisfying and steady progress. So, with that being said, let's get into it. Tip number 1 is make sure that you experiment with different movesets for weapons before you decide a weapon is or is not for you. One of the core areas I think they've really got right in this game is that the combat just feels awesome. This is down to the excellent variety they have created with the weapons available. Not only are they vastly different in terms of their core usage, they also offer some excellent variety in the form of combos. Left bumper and right trigger allows us to use powerful combinations which, when used situationally, can really open up the combat and the overall flow and feel of the gameplay. Weapon stances are also a feature, and this adds to further variety. I initially started my playthrough with a hammer, but wasn't really vibing with it until I switched to the two-handed stance. This was amazing, as the running attacks and charged attacks were particularly devastating. And it also offers a really satisfying 3-hit combo that also has the ability to stagger enemies, including bosses. It feels a lot like the hammer in Monster Hunter World if you've played that, which is a massive compliment to the devs. Also, don't forget to utilize kicks with the left and right bumper. This is an extremely effective move when a mob is low on their stagger bar and you want to break it. If you're looking to gain the more desirable, effective weapons, armors, and spells in the game, then you will need to engage with the Remembrance system. Remembrances are gained by killing bosses, and then soul-flaying any memories which are nearby with your lantern. These give us the Remembrance item, and some interesting segments of lore which give us some historical insights into the plot, and really fleshes the world out for us. You also gain Scouring Orbs from killing bosses and soul-flaying memories. These Scouring Orbs are a currency within Lords of the Fallen. A currency which you will use to buy items which are unlocked by remembrances. There's an NPC in Skyrest called Mulhu. He sells a range of useful items that includes the powerful unlocks that I've just mentioned. Remembrance gear is closely linked to the theme and aesthetic of the boss you gain them from and opens up some really cool and interesting playstyles. For example, using Pieter's Remembrance and acquiring many Scouring Orbs, I have now been able to unlock Pieter's sword, all her armor pieces, and a spell called Blessed Reflection, which is one of the skills that they use in the boss fight. And this has given me the opportunity to have a really strong starting build, but also given me that really cool looking paladin aesthetic, which is something that I'm often a fan of in games. It is important to note that in order to ensure everything is unlocked and purchasable, you will need to acquire something called the Bowl of Revelation. My advice is to get this done as quickly as possible as you explore Pilgrim's Perch, an area you will become very familiar with. As you progress through this area, you will eventually find yourself looking down upon a ladder that appears to lead to your certain doom. However, if you enter Umbral, this will open an area with quite a tricky fight. So climb down the ladder, clear all the mobs, and then soulflay the statue to acquire this item. Speaking of Pilgrim's Perch, this area can prove to be incredibly frustrating in terms of its layout and the demands it places on the player in terms of their traversal techniques and overall finesse. Something that really caught me out when platforming was constantly rolling when landing after performing a jump. To prevent this from happening, release the left stick when you are in mid-air. This will prevent you from rolling and falling off the other side of the platform or ending up in the path of an enemy's attack. Other smaller important mentions to do with movement and traversal are little things like you can actually sprint up ladders when you're climbing them, as if you were just normally sprinting. And there's actually 2 methods of dodging in this game when you're in combat, which is something really important to note. Another really important tip that I'd recommend is don't sleep on spells and ranged attacks. The spell and range system in this game is extremely effective and provides us with another dimension of both damage output and survivability. A combination of range damage, weapon buffs, imbuements, heals, resistance increases, and buffs to name a few, gives us a great bit of control over the intricacies of our playstyle. Again, huge kudos to the weight the devs have given this system. I really like the way that it changes the way you can play moment to moment. Both Mohul and Exacta Dunmire give us access to these from the early stages of the game. Both can be found in Skyrest. Get as many of these spells and abilities going as quickly as possible as long as your class allows it. This leads us on nicely to class choice. My advice here would be to research the classes before you commit to one. There are 10 classes in the game, 9 of which are available from the start, and 1, the Dark Crusader, are an unlock or instantly available to us if we bought the Digital Deluxe Edition. Each class opens up the potential for different play styles, and there really is a choice for everybody here. Each class starts with a different distribution of stat points, and this can have a very large impact on the types of weapons you're going to be most effective with due to the way our damage scales off stats. I would recommend having a look around on YouTube and seeing if there's anything that interests you in terms of either playstyle and or aesthetic. If a hybrid melee range style paladin build is to your taste, you could try the Orient Preacher, as this character begins with 18 Radiance points, placing it in the ideal situation to scale damage on weapons that use Radiance, and it also allows us to use spells which are locked behind certain thresholds of Radiance quickly. If you're interested and like the way that sounds, you could check out my Radiant Paladin starter build after this video. The weapon upgrade system, much like the Remembrance system, is also slightly hidden off the beaten track in this game. Gerlinda, the blacksmith, must be unlocked before we have the ability to upgrade our weapons. To find her, you'll need to make considerable progress through Pilgrim's Perch, which is a very annoying area. The closest waypoint to the blacksmith is the Bellroom waypoint. This is also a good base for obtaining many items within the vicinity. If you've unlocked the lift that takes you down to the depths, then jump in there. If not, you will need to head to this area in Pilgrim's Perch and solve a short soul flay puzzle to open the way to the same location the lift takes you to. Once there, dispatch all the enemies, and you'll be able to hear the sound of a hammer striking an anvil below. Drop down, clear the enemies, including an intimidating paladin mob that will drop you a key. Take the key to the prison cell and give it to Gerlinda. Now the next time you rest, she will no longer be there, and will now be your very own personal blacksmith in Skyrest. You will now be able to upgrade your gear to become an even more formidable weapon on the battlefield. And finally, I've saved perhaps the most important tip till last. Simply explore the game. Enjoy the journey. Appreciate the content. Go at your own pace. This game's been really thoughtfully put together, so don't ruin it by boss rushing and just following a guide and going at a hell for leather pace. There are a lot of items in the early section of the game, and this will help you grow with your character in terms of its raw ability and your overall finesse with your playstyle. Check out my other videos for more guidance in this area if you'd like to try and find some of these aforementioned items. So there you have it, 7 quickfire tips and things which I wish I'd knew sooner when playing Lords of the Fallen. There are many more, and most likely ones that I'm not aware of, so please do sound off in the comments below with anything you feel are worth sharing. I've really enjoyed interacting with you in the comments so far, so please keep your thoughts coming. Be sure to smash that like button and subscribe for more content of this nature. Take care, and I'll see you in the next one, guys.